Hi, my name is Jessica Reynoso. I'm the Cardinal Careers Associate at the Haas Center, and I'm joined by Leela Stake, a member of our National Advisory Board. So Leela, if you could please introduce yourself and share a little bit about what you're currently doing.
Hi, I'm Leela Stake. I'm chair of the National Advisory Board at the Haas Center for Public Service, and I am a senior partner and cabinet member at Fleishman Hillard, where I lead a lot of our impact consulting work.
When did you graduate from Stanford, and what did you major in?
Yes, I just had my 20th reunion, so I was class of 2003. I was in the Urban Studies program with a focus on community organizations. I did the honors program in ethics and society, and I co-termed in sociology.
What was your first job out of Stanford? Did you do a postgrad fellowship?
Yeah, well, it's been a very full circle experience coming back to Stanford and coming back to Haas. It was really my home away from home while I was on campus, and then I was incredibly fortunate to have the Tom Ford Fellowship in Philanthropy after I graduated. So my first job was as a postgraduate fellow for Haas, and I had the amazing opportunity to be a fellow with the Asia Foundation through the Tom Ford Fellowship in Philanthropy, and I got to work in 6 countries in South and Southeast Asia over 2 years. So I had my fellowship year, and then I loved it so much that I wanted to deepen my experience. I stayed on for another year after that.
What moment or experience sparked your interest in public service?
I think maybe one of the things I often tell my kids is that it's kind of hard to know where you're going until you know where you came from, and I think that was really true for me. So I think I had a lot of family influences in my life that helped chart a kind of a commitment, a lifelong commitment to service. On my mom's side, my grandparents, my great-grandparents actually had marched with Gandhi in the independence movement for India, and actually my maternal grandmother, my nani, was the first city councilwoman for the city of Mumbai, who is a woman, which was incredible. She lost her husband, my grandfather, when my mom was just 6 years old, and so she went out on her own, which was extremely unusual in those times in India, and raised 3 children, and also had a career in service for herself. So she was one of my greatest inspirations growing up. And then on my dad's side, he was a Unitarian Universalist minister. So I grew up as a minister's daughter, and in a tradition of a lot of commitment to advocacy and involvement in the community. So that's just kind of what I was surrounded by growing up, parents who came from truly opposite ends of the earth, and yet had this kind of shared commitment and shared family history to service that sparked that commitment for me.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. It seems like it wasn't like a singular moment and more just something that is a part of who you are.
Yeah, it is. Although I will say I remember exactly my first moment freshman year. So maybe like other people who come here, I felt like I had a lot of imposter syndrome at first. Wasn't sure if I deserved to be here. I went into my first class freshman year, and Secret Service was there because Chelsea Clinton was in my class. So she was a junior when I was a freshman. So I already felt that way. And then I felt really overwhelmed. And I remember sort of trying to find my way the first few weeks. And I happened to live in Larkin, which is in Stern Hall, which is quite close to the Haas Center. And I just happened upon the Haas Center, and truly immediately I felt a sense of home away from home. And I did my very first Haas Center project my freshman year. So that was a special moment for me in terms of defining my service journey here. I worked on something that was called the Neighborhood Improvement Initiative and became One East Palo Alto, which was a community organizing initiative working alongside community members in East Palo Alto. And I love that Stanford is paradise and an island, but I also felt like it was important to get outside of the island, and Haas really helped facilitate that. And I'm so fortunate that I found that early on, because then I feel like I spent so much time at the Haas Center. I did so many different programs, and I felt like it was always hanging out in the DK room, and just spent so much time there. So that was another place that I wanted to point to, just in terms of something that had a lasting impact on me.
What is your biggest professional win?
It's been great to have sort of a 20-year history of impact. So I had the Tom Ford Fellowship in Philanthropy, worked in international global development for several years. Then I came back to the U.S. and I tried my hand kind of in the corporate responsibility space, because I was very curious how businesses were making decisions that could help them not only grow and thrive as business organizations, but also have a positive and meaningful impact on the planet and on people's lives. And so I started a career in impact-related consulting, which has continued. And one of the things that I've been able to do through that was help to build a team called Mosaic. And so the idea behind Mosaic is that we should really have people counseling the most influential organizations in the world who are a true reflection of society. So maybe we take it for granted sometimes when we're at Stanford that there are so many people from so many different backgrounds, different races and ethnicities, different geographies, gender identities, sexual orientation, so many different facets of diversity. And here you're just surrounded by it, but then you leave and actually there are very few organizations out there in the world that look and feel that way. And so our belief through Mosaic is that we need to change that, and that we need to have teams that are have great professional expertise, but also lived experience on a range of issues. So that is something that I'm really proud of having grown in the past few years. I have a team of about 150 people around the world. And we have a lot of work to do still, and I'm sure room to grow, but I'm really proud of the successes that we've had over the past few years.
And as we wrap up, if you could share like any advice for students who are interested in exploring public service professionally.
I really encourage it, and I also think I love the pathways of public service. And so if you're not familiar with those, I think really check them out, because I think don't define service too narrowly. If I look across the course of the past 2 decades of my life, like there were so many different chapters of my service story. So there's the work I'm doing now with Haas as part of the National Advisory Board. I have been able to serve on the advisory council of an amazing organization called REDF, which works on employment, social enterprise, and helping people who face the greatest barriers to work. I've been a soccer coach for my kids' teams. I've been a board member at their preschool. And then I have been able to have a professional career that's really been very service oriented. And I've even had an opportunity to serve on local government through our first ever diversity and inclusion task force for our town. So I guess I will just say, look at across the pathways, because you'll see so many opportunities there. And no matter what career path you decide, you can have a lot of chapters to your story, and you have an opportunity to leverage the principles of ethical and effective service to have a more meaningful impact for your own life. I think to find a lot of fulfillment in your work and your life, but also to have that broader impact on society and the planet as well.
Thank you so much, Leela, for taking time today to share about your public service journey. We really appreciate your service here.
Oh, well, thank you, Jessica. It was amazing, and I'm so grateful to the Haas Center staff. Nothing could happen here without all of you, so I'm really grateful.